Hello and welcome to episode 3 of my Git By Example series. If you've missed any of the previous episodes, be sure to check out the playlist linked right up here to get caught up, and be sure to get subscribed to me so you don't miss any of the future episodes. So up until now, we've just been working on our project linearly and essentially tracking our changes as we go. So now that we have all of those changes tracked, let's check out our actual history and learn how to jump around it and rewrite it. So the first thing that we're going to do is learn how to actually take a look at our history. And we do that with the git log command. So if we just type git log, and you'll see here we get a bunch of information on all of our commits in reverse order. So there are a bunch of useful flags that can change how this is formatted, but if you just run it bare, it'll have the commit hash. Here, this is just pointing to where your head is at, which is something we'll discuss more when we get to branching. Then it just has the author, the date, and the commit message. So I just mentioned there are a lot of different tags you can use to edit how this looks. So let's go over a few of the more useful ones. So if we run git log -p, what -p is going to do is it is going to give us all of the actual diff output for each of these commits as well. So if we look here, we're creating files in this, and we are adding all of these lines into that gitignore file, and then also we're creating new files for all those other files that we had to test our git ignoring capabilities, and all of that. So then if we go through here, you'll see the diff similarities for all of them and things like that. And there is also a more abridged version of a very, very similar thing, which is what I prefer to use for most use cases. And that is git log --stat, which will show just the line counts in terms of insertions and deletions and things like that. And then also things like renaming and all of that. So then the last thing we're going to talk, or two more things we're going to talk about, but the nice one right here is git log --pretty, which what --pretty allows you to do is specify formatting. So there's some presets, like one line, which is quite useful, which will just abridge it all just down to the hash and the message, which is a useful way to just find what hash you're looking for if you're trying to find something for a certain commit. And you can also use --pretty with a bunch of different specifiers, which take the form of like % and then a letter and things like that. So if we just do like %-h, then you'll see now it's only going to give me the hashes. And you can build this out however you like using a bunch of specifiers, which I will add a link to in the link bank down in the description. So then the final useful feature that we're going to go over for git log is git log --graph. So --graph is not going to be useful to us at all just yet because we don't have any different branches here. We're just on our master branch. So you see now we have this line that is running through this entire thing right here. If we had different branches that were like branching off and merging back in, then you would be able to see those visualized in this branch, in this graph layout, which can make figuring out how those things interact with each other a bit easier to see. So now that we understand how to view our history, let's move on to a feature that's going to make dealing with our history and tracking it a little bit easier. And that is tags. So Git has two forms of tags. It has lightweight tags, which are just aliases for certain commits. So if you just want to like mark a certain commit that was particularly significant as where something happened, then you can go ahead and use something like that. But those I don't see used all that often. And then there are annotated tags, which hold a bunch of metadata on their own, and their code is hashed and things like that, which is really useful for things like marking the source code for different releases and things like that. So tags should only really be used for significant milestones or like releases or things like that, because the other use cases that you might think you want to use tags are covered just by using commits, because you can go back to commits easily and find them. And if you write good commit messages, then it's pretty easy to figure out where things happened. So to tag the commit that you are currently on, you can type git tag -a and then a version string. So I'll call this one v1.1. And then we can give it a message as well with -m and just say release v1.1. So if we go ahead and do that, and then we do git show v1.1, and we run that, then you will see that now we have tag v1.1, which is attached to this commit right here. And it shows all of our difference information and stuff like that. So it then shows that now this commit that we were just on is now tagged with being version 1.1. So the other things that you may want to do is if you want to go back and tag a commit that was somewhere in the past, then first you're going to do something like git log. We'll just do --pretty equals one line here. And then from here, let's say I want to tag our initial commit right here as version 1.0. So you can just grab the first little bit of the Git commit hash, which again, you don't need to grab the whole thing. You don't even need to grab that much of it. Just grab as much as you need to make it unique, which is not that many characters. If you grab like fine, you'll almost definitely always be fine. And then you can do git tag -a. We'll do v1.0, and we're just going to paste in our commit hash right here. And then, sorry, we need to give it a message as well. So then we can just do -m initial version. So now if we run git show on v1.0, then we can see that that is attached to our initial commit. So that is how you create tags. So now that we understand how to actually inspect our history and tag it as well, if that's something you want to do, let's talk about how to actually move around in our history. So let's say you want to go back to a previous commit and check out how something used to look, but you don't want to destroy the work you've done since then. To do this, we can make use of the Git Checkout command. We're going to talk a lot more about this command when we get to branching, but for now, we're just going to use it to cover what we need in this specific use case. So we can simply type Git Checkout and then the hash of our thing. I don't know where that got copied from. Okay, well, no worries. We can just Git Log, and then let's say I want to go back to the place where I added that dummy file. So let's just grab some of this commit hash right here. Quit out of this, and then we can git checkout and then this hash right here, and that is going to bring us back to that. So now you'll see my git thing right here is tracking that we're at that commit hash, and if I go ahead and ls, you'll see something interesting here, which I'm going to have to explain. So our git ignore is gone. Our dummy is called dummy again instead of fake, but we still have all of these files right here, which we added in our commit when we did the git ignore, if you remember correctly. But the reason that these are still here is because these were never tracked by Git, if you'll remember. These were the files that were being ignored. So since Git's not tracking them, Git can't reset them. It doesn't reset your entire folder, it only resets the files that it's tracking. So now if we do that, then we can go ahead and just, I don't know, see what's in dummy. Okay, so now I remember, this is a dummy file. So now I have whatever information I want. If I want to get back just to my most recent commit on the master branch, I can simply run a Git Checkout Master, and that is going to bring us back to the most recent commit on the master branch, wherever the master branch is pointing. So then if we do that again and we ls, okay, it's back to being called fake. We have all of these other files in here that were now whatever, like not be that were ignored by our git ignore, or not ignored in this case, and all of that. So yeah, so once we do that, that is the basics of how to use Git Checkout. You can do this to jump to any commit hash at any single time, and let's say you're on a commit hash, but you don't want to just go back to your most recent master thing. This is where one more git log command is going to come in handy, and that is --all, which will show you all of the commits regardless of where you are at in your working tree, because when you check out, it's only going to show you commits up until the point that you're at. So on the other hand, there is a case where let's say you noticed your most recent commit was actually a catastrophic error, and you want to go back in time and stay there. You just want to completely nuke the code that you changed. So there are two ways to do this. The correct way, according to the way most people use Git, is to create a revert commit, either with git revert and the hashes of all the commits you want to revert, or by checking out like earlier and then just committing back to the master branch. So this will essentially create commits that are the opposite of the faulty commits, and there is also the incorrect way to do it, which if you are just resetting your most recent commit or something, and you just want to say, I want to pretend this never happened, in my opinion, it's generally clearer to use this option, even though it's technically destroying information, which according to Git is bad. But this option is just to use git reset --hard. So what git reset --hard is going to do is it is just going to completely discard all of the changes and reset where you are at to the specified commit. So if let's say we wanted to do that. So right now, if we take a look right here, the last thing that we did is we added our git ignore and our ignore examples. If we wanted to revert that, then we could type git reset --hard, and then either the hash for that, or I will teach you another quick trick right here. This will make more sense later when we talk more about what the head is, but head is essentially pointing to whatever commit you are up to. and you can either reset to head, would just do nothing essentially because it would reset to where you're currently at. But if you moved back, if you checked out to a different commit, then your head will have moved there. So that would be one way. And you can also do things relative to head by typing a tilde and then a number. So what this is going to signify is it's going to say go one commit back from head. So if I went ahead and ran that, it would destroy our last commit, completely get rid of it, and update our working directory to reflect that as well. So with that covered, I have pretty much everything that we can do in just a basic linear Git repository. So this is where Git is going to start to get interesting now that you have a good understanding of the basics, and theoretically you could work on a project on your own right now. So next time we're going to start by tackling GitHub and remote repositories, and then after that we are going to move into branching. So I hope you stick around for that. Leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it and it's helping you out, and be sure to get subscribed so you don't miss any of the future episodes in this series or any of my other series. And goodbye.